Good morning, this is Ms. Young here, and this is the third video in question 15 of the AQA paper June 2023, paper 1, the coding question. In video 1 we went through this in Python. In video 2 we converted that Python code to Visual Basic, and now we will write the code in C#, which is the third acceptable language for AQA. Now, with the Visual Basic, I don't think many people are using it, so I kind of just did a simple conversion, whereas this time I'm going to write it from scratch, and we'll just go over the question again quickly. A group of people have a meal in a restaurant. Instead of one person paying for the whole meal, each person will pay for what they eat. And write a C# program that asks each person in the group how much they're paying towards the meal and works out when the bill is fully paid. Each person can pay a different amount. So the program should get the user to enter the total amount, get a person to enter how much they're paying, subtract that from the bill. If it's more than 0, output how much is left to pay and keep repeating until the amount left to pay is 0 or less. If it's exactly 0, output bill paid, and if it's less than 0, output the message tip is, and then the difference between the amount left to pay and 0. So the first thing we want to do is get the user to enter the total amount. So we can say, well, again, as I said in the VB, decimal is a very high precision, but let's just go with decimal and the bill. And that is equal to some value. But before we want to do that, we want to just do console.writeLine, enter the, I'll just give us some more space here, enter the total bill, and we say that our decimal, well, we can do decimal dot pass, and we can say console dot readline. And I actually want to have this all on the same line, so I'm going to just do it like that. Now, if you're watching any of my other videos, that can enter and give me essentially a null. And so we can coalesce that if we want to an empty string, if we want that error to go away. But of course, in the real exam, you won't be writing this in an IDE, so I'm going to just leave it like that. And I just said decimal remaining, I just like to keep these two separate, is equal to the bill. So we want to do this always at least once, and so we could in this case use a repeat, but I'm going to stay consistent, and I'm going to say that while the remaining is greater than 0, so if for some reason the bill was entered with 0, then we wouldn't ever go through this routine. And what do we want to say? Well, we want to get the person, so I'm just going to say the paid is equal to, wait a second, and it's going to be, again, it shouldn't really be a decimal, but we'll use that, let's just copy these two lines and let's make life easy for ourselves, and we can say enter your portion of the bill, and we'll just call that paid. And so now we can say that the remaining is equal to the remaining minus paid. Now, of course, if you really want to save time, you can just do minus equals paid, and that will work just fine. And so what do we want to do now? We want to say if the amount left to pay is more than 0, so we're going to say if the remaining is greater than 0. Then what we want to do is we want to write, and so we want to write line, and we can write something like left to pay, and then we can add a remaining, and we can just use dot to string here. We could have used a string literal, but that's nice and easy. And otherwise, else if remaining is exactly equal to 0, and let's put those in brackets, I'm been too lazy with Python. Then if they are exactly the same, then we can just say bill paid. And then if it's neither of those options, we can say else. Let's just fix that. I put the in the wrong place. Else, and we can write console.write, and we want to say the tip is, and we can add, and we want to do remaining times -1, and we can just say again dot to string, and that works just nicely. We have our end of the else, we have our end of while, and hopefully that should be just fine. So let's see if we can run this code here. And because it's C#, it's taking a little bit longer. And so here we have, enter the total bill. Let's just do 10. Let's just keep what we've been doing in the others, 4 and 4. And that should say tip is 2. And that just works just fine. Let's just try and put in some decimal values. So we can say something like 1043, 350. 454, 396, 252, and we have a nice tip. Let's just make sure that the equals works. Again, you wouldn't need to worry about any of this in the exam, but while I'm going through it on here, just to make sure that our code is written correct, let's go with 10 again, 4, 4 and 2, and it says bill paid. And so what we have here is a relatively short piece of code that is worth 8 marks. We've meted all of the, in fact we've met even all the requirements of the question. That should be enough to give you 8 marks. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm Miss Young, and I will hopefully speak to you another day. Thank you.